Welcome everyone. I'm Nobel Gunes, a partner at PwC in charge of tax technology, and I'm delighted to moderate today's conversation about a topic gaining a significant momentum, the strategic integration of tax, finance, and technology. And you may ask, why now? Because we are at a turning point. The turning point is most of the multinationals are now undergoing two major transformations. It's about their ERP, the transactional system, and their consolidation system. These are very foundational changes. It means that they are really impacting their business process, and they are also impacting their enterprise IT architecture. So it's, I will say, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to embed tax into business process and operations. And we need also to understand that this kind of transformation is about key design decisions that are being made. So tax needs to be involved so that it can really create value and be connected to finance, IT, and technology. And this is exactly what we'll talk about today. We have decided to take one example, which is pretty significant, which is the operational transfer pricing. And operational transfer pricing involves many different teams, process, and systems. So it's a great time as well for operational transfer pricing to really be in this kind of transformation and provide the value that it deserves. And for this, I am today with three great panelists. We have with us Benoît Lampoé from Orange, who is in charge of finance and IT systems and consolidation.
Yeah, hello everyone. So I'm in charge of finance solution at Orange group level, and our role, in fact, is to deploy the group solution in our different countries. And this is for the ERP, the APM, and the consolidation domain. And the strategy we have is really to mutualize and capitalize on the asset we have on the IT system.
Thank you, Benoît. I'm also with Flora, my colleague from PwC Switzerland. Flora, perhaps you can introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm very pleased to be here. My name is Flora Marin. I'm a partner. I'm working in Switzerland, but I'm French. Been actually working in Switzerland for 18 years now in transfer pricing. Why am I here today? Because actually I developed, in collaboration with Tagetik, this operational and transfer pricing platform that we will actually speak about. So very pleased to meet you here today.
And Jerôme Vial from CCH Tagetik also.
I'm also French, but I am 30 years in Switzerland. I'm responsible for Tagetik in Switzerland. We have a team of 30 experts and many clients, 200 clients now in Switzerland. And I'm also for Tagetik responsible in our global steerco for tax solution globally. And we developed together with Flora a very nice OTP solution that we launched already 2 weeks ago. Glad to be here.
Thank you very much all. So let's dive now really into what it means to try to converge finance, tax, and IT. And we know that it's not pretty straightforward. So that's why we'll start with Benoît. So Benoît, from your experience and your role, it will be very interesting for our listeners to try to understand what has changed in recent years for finance and what created pressure perhaps to evolve your finance and IT systems.
We are engaged for a long time now in the finance transformation. It's not new. With the digitalization of our processes, but also with the move to cloud process. So this is the first change. It's not necessarily a pressure, but because at the end of the day, we need to standardize our processes, to change the way of working, to be more efficient, to also to attract new talent, because this is the case in Orange, but we have some natural decrease of people in the corporate function, so this is a reality. We have also some changes regarding the new regulations. So this is the case with Pillar 2, for example, or new internal reporting we have to produce, like cash reporting. It's some internal reporting, but this is quite new. And the objective is really to improve the quality of the financial data. And well, to be honest, we are already well equipped in finance solutions for the consolidation, for the ERP, for the PM domain, but it's true that perhaps a little less for the tax domain. So this is our challenge of the next month.
The next month, so very good to hear. And perhaps now with Flora, if we can, have a broader picture, perhaps with other companies, and try also to understand what changes in the economic and regulatory environment push other companies to really go into this kind of transformation.
So we've heard from Benoit actually that BEPS and Pillar 2 in particular, and also I would say the latest developments with respect to CBCR, public CBCR, tax transparency, is pushing now companies to actually align tax processes, disclose tax processes to the world, basically making sure that their tax policies is aligned with the numbers. And the other side is obviously that tax authorities, if you look at, at VivaTech platform here, we all speak about AI, and tax authorities are also upskilling themselves on AI. So using AI to analyze data, in a much more quicker way than ever before. So they look at VAT, customs data, tax returns, financial data, and then they actually check for audits, tax audits, if there are mismatches. And this is key because you need to be basically faster than the tax authorities, on top of regulations, compliant, making sure that all the data and all the data that is disclosed to the public is consistent and aligned basically with your finance processes. And until now, tax was sometimes separate. So we had separate processes, and we also had a lot of work done in Excel. So we really need now to bring tax to the same level than other finance processes.
So I think that's very interesting. So we understand from Benoit that the finance and consolidation are process and functions are ready. The tax department is acknowledging the demands and what's going on. But having said this, how they can answer to this? And perhaps with you, Jerôme, we can try to understand as well from your perspective how client demand has evolved when it comes to finance and tax.
Yeah. Our job at Tagetik, we come from the conso background 25 years ago. We are one of the leaders for the conso. And we started 6 years ago to work with tax together. And our job is to make the people from conso and tax to work together. Why? Because 80% in tax are the same data that the one you use in for the conso for the finance. And our job is to help them to work together with the same workflows there to access the data and manage to answer what Flora said about the request from the tax authorities to be quick, to be able to demonstrate they know where the information is coming from, and producing all the report for tax authority as well. So it's our job to combine. Before they were working as a silo, they didn't speak to each other. Our job with our technology is to have them to work together. Very simple. It's a big job to do, and it's very appreciated by our clients to do so for BEPS, OTP, and tax provisioning.
So it's a great connection that you do with the next question, because now we'll try to understand in real life with Benoit how finance and tax teams are working today, and what you see on the ground in terms of collaboration and how it is working.
Well, to be honest, we can say that for the moment, the work of tax team is more manual, with Excel files, with data restatement, with some control to be performed, etc., etc. And they are dealing with a lot of source of data also. So at the end of the day, we need to improve this process to save time and to secure data. But it's in progress because the tax and consolidation teams, they are used to work together since a long time now. For example, we have implemented the country-by-country reporting some years ago, in which the two teams are totally involved. Then we are starting the project to roll out the Pillar 2 process for the minimum taxation on the Tagetik platform. And we will probably review the country-by-country reporting on that platform too, because these both subjects are really linked. And I'm quite sure that we will have a look at the transfer pricing process, because this process is quite manual and requires a lot of time for the team. So globally, it's still manual, but it's in progress to improve this process.
And I understand that at Orange you have already started to really connect finance and tax through one unique platform with already some tax use cases. And that's really great to hear. And perhaps Flora, with you, again, if we can have a broader perspective, and if you can help us to see from your experience how those collaboration work in reality as well on other companies, and tell us, what you have encountered and the challenges that they face.
So I think it's, basically this is really the toughest question. The collaboration goes beyond the technology and the data, right? It's really about also aligning processes, workflow, governance models to really make sure that we basically in tax also work with the finance team to get the right information out of the system. And because tax is very manual today still, unfortunately, especially in transfer pricing in the area I cover, there's still a lot of work done in Excel, whether it's management fee or cost allocation or specific segmentation of margins down to operating expenses, so allocating operating expenses down to EBIT to within the same legal entity. This is not a view that is automatically generated for finance purposes. So this is where tax sometimes goes beyond what finance has and requires actually also automated processes. So the idea is really, when you do a finance transformation, going back to the topic of really like the bigger scheme, to embed transfer pricing and tax processes into the finance transformation and not just doing a lift and shift of the old into the new world, because otherwise you miss an opportunity. And then covering later on the data points and all the process flows to cover tax processes, it requires much more work than doing it now. And this is where you started saying this, we have now a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity by connecting finance and tax processes. And this is also what we see with our clients today. If you don't do it now, later it will cost much more and it will be inefficient. This is now the time where you can really do it and also facilitate the collaboration between finance and tax, because the data foundation should be the same. And then it's just creating different views for different users, but on the same data platform and foundation.
And then it's also good now to understand from those requirements how Tagetik take this into reality. What are the key functionalities, architecture design, where Tagetik will help really as a platform?
What makes us very different from our other competitor, and I will not give any name here, we have tax experts in our team, and we collaborate with very strong also experts on the market to develop a good solution which is rolled out globally, not on specific project in each team, but globally with the best expert to have this know-how inside there, tax expert with a strong technology together. And we combine that. It's a big investment on our side to do, but that's how to make ourselves different from the other player on the market. That's my first point. My second one is we are able to do what we call a drill through, to be able to press a button, to be able to go directly at the transaction level. Sounds very trivial. To make it work, it's very complex, requires a lot of technology and know-how to do. We can do it as well, super powerful, to demonstrate where the data is coming from. And the last one is one single point of truth. We in Tagetik are able to provide in one area every information. For BEPS, you mentioned, Benoit, for OTP, for tax provision, everything in one place to meet the requirement of reporting and of the tax authorities. Because they are, as Flora said, more and more demanding, these people, and they have AI as well. They are more modern. As a company and us as technology, we have to be there to support them to meet the expectation higher from the tax authorities.
Talking about expectations, let's see if this approach taken by Orange and Benoit. What do you see as a difference in terms of approach, a unified platform versus a fragmented tools? We know that in reality, many companies are, at least for now, more in fragmented tools and disparate architecture. So perhaps you can tell us more about this.
Yeah, so no surprise on that. The objective of platform approach is really to have one source of data, sharing the same referential. This is a key topic for me because this is the only thing to share the same data between the ERP. Jerome mentioned that just before, in transactional domain until the consolidation tool. So this is really important to have this referential approach also. It allows to avoid data integration for sure from different system, data crunching, etc. And at the end of the day, you can collect data, perform some calculation, perform some reporting on the same platform. And in fact, the data is coming from a unique source for all the use cases. So another point is perhaps it allows you to navigate more easily. You mentioned that also in the data model to drill through directly to better understand some gaps or some discrepancy in terms of data. I think at the end it's also a source of cost reduction because you have only one platform, and it's also a better user experience and something which facilitates change management at the end.
Thank you very much, Benoit. I think that's very insightful. Let's go even deeper with Flora when it comes to tax and EPM platform. Why does an EPM platform really strategically important for tax and finance integration? And perhaps you can also highlight the specific OTP value that we can take from an EPM platform collaboration.
So when we look at tax processes, let's say Pillar 2 or country-by-country reporting, it's a compliance effort, right? You need to do it because you need to comply, you need to provide the data to the tax authorities, calculate if you need to pay top-up taxes. But in transfer pricing, it goes beyond that. It's more than compliance. It's also an area where you can unlock value because there are so many mismatches and so many mistakes today and so many risks of double taxation, uncertain tax provision because of transfer pricing risks, that this is actually an area where you can unlock value. And we've calculated some business cases for our clients, and basically going into an operational transfer pricing solution means that for one of my clients, we calculated savings of up to 50 million per year. So imagine 50 million per year, it pays for the whole finance transformation. It pays for the S4 or EPM implementation of the whole finance team if you include operational transfer pricing. So the business case is massive. it's one of the biggest pain points of companies today. It's cross-disciplinary in terms of like cross-functional. And to do it right, you need not only the data, you also need the right processes and workflow. And you need to replace the manual Excel spreadsheets. Obviously, they are practical and convenient, but ultimately, they are also prone to mistake, and they don't give you the level of data that you would need to really go down to transactional level. And this is only feasible basically with a tool, given the number of transactions you have and the number of material and SKU that you might have. If you want to do it at SKU level, you really need a certain tool and technology, otherwise you can't do it. So unlocking value in an EPM or in an S/4HANA transformation through technology, especially in the area of transfer pricing, is really what we have seen. And this is where we can bring actually a very important business case to the finance community. And a CFO should also think about it when scoping basically the work to include tax and transfer pricing into the finance transformation.
And I completely echo this. Thank you very much. Let's also continue this conversation with you, Jerome, and try to understand how the architecture of CCH Tagetik and how does it support exactly this kind of transformation?
We are using our calculation. We are very strong, as I said, to calculate data, to be able to trace data, to be able to get back to the data. It's our core business to do it for finance and for tax as well. What we also do in our OTP solution, it's having a dashboard. You mentioned, Flora, a CFO. You can do scenarios with our dashboard and to show what is the impact if you change the transfer price there and there within being compliant, okay? And at the same time, how I can manage to unlock value. You mentioned, Flora, which can be very huge. You mentioned the figures there. To do scenario, to be compliant, but even better, to unlock value for the company in a very easy way for the top management to see a dashboard and not having to go into an Excel and being lost. Okay, so we help the tax team to convince the management to take the right decision to unlock this value, and also to avoid fines. As you might have heard, some company we have our clients. Some of us, our client chose us because they lost millions because of fines to tax authorities, and they said we don't want to pay any more fines to the tax authority. We want to have a proper tool, not Excel, to do that. And with Tagetik, they are now able to demonstrate every day that they are compliant by demonstrating the data are there and how they did the calculation you mentioned, Flora. So all of that, unlock value and avoiding fines. That's what we help our clients to do, to make it very simple. Back to you.
Thank you, Jerome. I think that what I understand from this and what clients that I'm talking to understand is that there is now a great momentum. It's now and it's a great moment to be really part of this kind of transformation, which is mainly conducted by finance. But if you have the right business case, and I think that there is one which is exceptional now, there is really a momentum to be involved in this kind of transformation, and we see that it started with Pillar 2. It will go to tax provisioning. There can be also some CBCR, operational transfer pricing, which is one of the best business case. So for leaders who are really perhaps listening to us today, if I may ask to anyone, if anyone would like to answer the question, what will be the one advice that you will give them for the coming months and years?
Difficult to only have one key topic, but
let's start with one.
Yes, but perhaps no. I think the key topic in terms of project is really to set up a unified project team with all the stakeholders involved, and also to reinforce on the change management, to have a good communication, etc. To explain the why to the business team, in fact. So.
Thank you, Flora.
It's probably the same message. It's really basically breaking the silos and working together, right? Finance and tax, making sure that tax is at the table when designing some processes, making sure that you have the right level of data, that you have the right platform, and that it's not left out for later, because ultimately it's now basically the opportunity to connect it, to connect the data, to connect the processes. And if you don't do it now, it's basically going to be more costly later, right? So working together and choosing the right solution, I would say.
Yeah, Orange took this choice already. We have Swiss client like a company called Lafarge Holcim. It used to be French. It's now Swiss French. Lafarge Holcim, they did that with us, the project. We have other company like Liebherr who did as well. A very famous watch company in Geneva. I'm not allowed to give the name, but you saw them last week in Roland Garros. Did the same. They are doing with us as well. Conso and tax. So if you are not doing that, consider to bring together finance and tax together, ideally with Tagetik and also, of course, PwC.
And if I may perhaps conclude on my proper experience as well. We are here talking about foundational changes and decision. And that's the reason why, I mean, don't think that AI will solve any of this challenge, right? AI is coming on top of this. So we are designing all the foundation and the data part and the master data with the ERP and consolidation system. AI is just coming on top. They can have some quick wins, but really I think that this is much more important than any other change. And this is why we think that it's a great opportunity to be there for tax. And if there is a Q&A, happy to take them. So it seems that we had some great last words. Thank you very much all.
Thank you.
Thank you.